Hello, I'm TSA Administrator John Pistol. As you travel this holiday season, I want to remind you that TSA's mission is to ensure the safety of you, the traveling public, and we are committed to doing so efficiently, courteously, and professionally. I'd like to offer a few tips and some important information we'd like you to know before you go through security. Remember our 3 simple steps to security: have your ID out, coats and shoes off, and laptops and liquids and gels less than 3 ounces wrapped and ready to go. As you enter the checkpoint, you'll be directed to pass through either a walk-through metal detector or, in some airports, an advanced imaging technology AIT unit. If you are directed to pass through an AIT, you may opt out. If you choose to opt out, you will receive a thorough pat-down by someone of the same gender. If you alarm either the metal detector or the AIT, you would also receive a pat-down. In either case, where a pat-down is required, you have important options that we want you to be aware of. You have the option to request that the pat-down be conducted in a private room, and you have the option to have that pat-down witnessed by a person of your choice. We very much appreciate your involvement, cooperation, and assistance in ensuring the safety of you, the traveling public. If you have questions about these procedures, the technology used by TSA, or our efforts to ensure your safety, please do not hesitate to ask one of our supervisors or visit tsa.gov. Thank you, and remember that at TSA, your safety is our priority.
Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Tuesday, November 23rd, 2010, and I'm Darko. Welcome to this Big Brother news segment. New listeners, please check out my website at www.ggnonline.com. That's ggnonline.com. You just heard from the director or the head of the TSA, the Pistone guy, and yeah, he makes it seem like it's more about people just not really knowing about all of these changes to security measures, and it's not so much that they actually disagree with it and are pissed off, right? No, it's just that, oh, they don't know about it. Oh, they're just ill-informed. But you can go down here to their own website, tsa.gov, under Homeland Security, and it'll show the different units, the millimeter wave units, the backscatter units, and it goes in here and says to learn about their safety and privacy. Well, they're not safe, and you don't have any privacy. So it's like, what triggers a pat-down? So he told you about that, and so you can go down there. Will children receive pat-downs? TSA officers will work with parents to resolve any alarms at the checkpoint. If required, a child may receive a modified pat-down. Oh, I wonder where that is. Parents are encouraged to ensure their children have taken all the items out of their pockets as they go through the security checkpoint. So, and it goes down there and it talks about all the stuff that you can't have and that you can't do. So, there you go. Hope you feel real free when you travel. I don't even know why people would want to travel anymore, but let's move on. This first one up is report Obama administration to appoint web privacy czar. It says here the U.S. government is preparing to appoint a privacy czar and introduce legislation to address the growing concerns over internet privacy. So we got a war czar and different types of czars, and now we got a privacy czar. It says the announcement is expected to come within weeks, along with a report from the U.S. Commerce Department, though at this point the details are apparently far from being hammered out. The government has historically taken a largely hands-off approach to online privacy, right, leaving the industry to self-regulate except in extreme cases, according to unnamed insiders speaking to the Wall Street Journal. However, the industry's self-regulation is no longer enough. Ooh, it's no longer enough. Hear that? It says under the administration's proposal, the role of the privacy czar would be to guide the debate over future legislation. So that sounds very free, very democratic. You have someone who's called a czar. And let's see what a czar. So I was just looking, and yeah, we have drug czars as well, and I guess there's an industry czar under Woodrow Wilson's cabinet or administration. But the words are pretty much interchangeable, and they refer to it as a political term. But when you look at it here, it originally comes from, of course, Russia. They're the biggest ones, and it was a monarchy. And what it basically interprets to is basically an emperor. So, you know, if you want to use the word czar, you better just know that when they say guide, see, that's why it says in quotation marks, guide, they're going to tell them what to do. So I just wanted to point that out. Not very democratic, and it's the future, right? Communism. And it's more of just a scientific dictatorship. That's what we should call it. FCC may forego net neutrality for wireless networks after the midterm Republican landslide in the U.S. House. Many political observers proclaimed that hopes for true net neutrality policies passing Congress had gone up in flames, along with the Democratic majority. It says now the chance for those rules, known to supporters as the First Amendment on the Internet, may be slipping away as well. The FCC, which would have to act independent of Congress, is formulating a series of proposals based upon principles from legislation first proposed by Representative Henry Waxman, according to a Monday report by Politico. And he's vowed support for the so-called net neutrality policy proposals favored most by Democrats and progressives. So we're going to move on here. Secret U.S. Spy satellite launches into orbit on huge rocket. And it says here, a huge unmanned rocket carrying a secret new spy satellite for the United States roared into space Sunday, November 21st, to deliver what one reconnaissance official has touted as, quote, the largest satellite in the world into orbit. Says the giant booster, a Delta IV heavy rocket, blasted off at 5:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from Cape Canaveral Air Force Base in Florida, carrying a classified payload for the U.S. National Reconnaissance Office. And that's a high-tech reconnaissance camera. And it says this mission helps to ensure that vital NRO resources will continue to bolster our national defense, said Air Force Brigadier General Ed Wilson. So it says the exact purpose of the new spy satellite NRO 32 is secret. Well, I think we can kind of guess what the purpose is, to spy on people, right? But it's always, we're going to spy on the enemy, we're going to spy on the terrorists. Well, we're all terrorists, so it's going to be spying on you. It says here, U.S. launches giant eavesdropping satellite. The U.S. is placed into orbit a vast reconnaissance satellite reputed to be the largest eavesdropping device ever launched into space. The largest unmanned American launch vehicle, the Delta IV heavy rocket, roared into the night sky in Florida on Sunday, carrying the mysterious satellite on a mission dubbed NROL 32. So, oh, and here's a statement for Vice President. ULA is pleased to support the NRO as it protects our nation's security and supports our warriors defending our nation around the world. So that's what it's for. So there's a lot of stuff in the skies right now spying on you. There's also the high-altitude airship. And it was designed, I believe, by Lockheed Martin or Boeing. And it was picked up. It was supposed to go to the Pentagon, to Homeland Security, and basically it's going to run on solar power. It's produced and designed by, I believe, Purdue University. I did the research on that, and it's supposed to be very, very high up there. You won't even see it, and it's supposed to stay up there for years at a time. And just nothing but a surveillance, and they can see through your house with the special technology that they have in those cameras. They can see through your house. A certain type of imaging. I don't know if it's heat, you know, thermal, or what, or X-ray, probably a mix. But this one is NASA dust-off X-15 successor rocket hyperplanes. So there you go, the X-34. NASA has dusted off a pair of prototype hypersonic rocket planes that has been lying around since the 90s, with a view to getting them flying. The X-34 project was canceled in 2001 for, quote, technical and budgetary reasons. I wonder if 9/11 had happened. Now they have the budget, right? It says, but now the mothballed rocket ships are being checked out to see if they are potentially viable as flight demonstrators. So see, they're putting all kinds of crap up in the air, guys. I'm going to cut to this, a little bit of older article, and look at this. Oh, an X-37B. U.S. military's top secret shuttle disappears for 2 weeks. Remember this story in August? And you go to this. Now that the X-37B space plane is spotted, what is its mission? Amateur astronomers say that they have found the X-37B in orbit. Oh yeah, see, they just lost it. That takes it over, said, in an orbit that takes it over Afghanistan and Iraq. A former Air Force missile officer offers up 4 possible uses for the spy plane, and the weapon is least likely. And this also flew out of Cape Canaveral. And one of the things that I noticed is that all of these craft are what? like including the high-altitude airship that I was talking about. They're all unmanned. No people. And that is the future, right? It's taking the human element out of all the spying. So it's all automatic. And we're going to move on here. It says all U.S. embassies and consulates around the world spying on host nations' citizens. With revelations that the U.S. embassies in Oslo, Copenhagen, and Stockholm have carried out spying operations against host citizens in Norway, Denmark, Sweden, from respective embassies, comes news that WMR, that the system carrying out the secret surveillance, the Security Incident Management Analysis System, or CMAS, not only also spies on citizens of the two Nordic partners of Norway, Denmark, and Sweden, namely Iceland and Finland, from the U.S. embassies in Reykjavik and Helsinki, respectively, but spies on individuals from all U.S. embassies and consulates around the world, from Santiago, Chile, and Canberra, Australia, to Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, to Maputo and Mozambique. So check that one out. As always, if you're a new listener or new viewer, I post all the links to all the stories, so please check them out. It's in the video's description. This is FBI seeks wider wiretap law for the web. Robert Mueller, the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, traveled to Silicon Valley on Tuesday to meet with top executives of several technology firms about a proposal to make it easier to wiretap internet users. So, said they were scheduled to meet senior managers of several major companies, i.e. CIA fronts, including Google and Facebook, or NSA fronts, says according to several people familiar with the discussions. So, there you go. And it says New York surveillance initiative is triple threat to terrorism. Project to install 3,000 cameras, license plate readers, and hazardous material detectors. With terrorist threats an ever-present concern in the minds of Americans, and especially New Yorkers, the Lower Manhattan Security Initiative, originally instituted in 2005 by the New York Police Department, has commenced work on its plan to install license plate readers. Man, that's crazy, because I thought they were for advertising only. Biological, chemical, nuclear, and radiation detectors, and some 3,000 cameras in NYC. One of the areas to be covered includes 1.7 square miles south of Canal Street. That was targeted on September 11, 2001, and the false flag terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center. Moving on here. Says law enforcement, National Police Network plans switch to faster speeds. The National Law Enforcement Telecommunications System provides a backbone for state, local, and federal law enforcement agencies, i.e. fusion centers, now around the country to exchange data. That currently is being done over a commercial frame relay service with fractional T1 connections to most states. So it says it's planning to upgrade its network with multi-protocol label switching, or MPLS. The result will be faster, cheaper connections to support growing demands for connectivity from officers in the field. Now it means our buddies over here at Homeland Security and the airports and their little checkpoints that they have, including traffic cameras and all that, can all be processed more efficiently, right? So they can spy on you more. Secretary Napolitano and Senator Lautenberg announced expansion of the, quote, "If you see something, say something" campaign across New Jersey. And of course, this is, a spy on your neighbor, very, Third Reich or Soviet Union, right? So, and basically, yeah, they just announced the statewide expansion of DHS's national "If You See Something, Say Something" campaign across New Jersey, raising public awareness and strengthening security throughout the state as the busy holiday season commences. So, and we may have to bust this into two videos. So please join me in part 2. It says United States and the Netherlands sign agreement to prevent and combat serious crime. U.S. Department of Homeland Security Department Secretary Jane Howell today joined Dutch Security and Justice Minister Ivo Opstelten to sign a preventing and combating serious crime agreement allowing for the exchange of biometric and biographic data between the U.S. and the Netherlands to bolster counterterrorism and law enforcement efforts while protecting individual privacy. So, and, there is no privacy, so that's just a big farce when they say that to make you feel all cozy inside and warm, right? Facebook makes people more social, study says. Contrary to common belief, social media websites such as Facebook do not weaken personal ties. They strengthen them in unique ways for different age groups, according to the new study. So please join me in part 2 of Big Brother for Global Government News. I'm Darko.